Hello there, Capricorn. Thank you so much for stopping by for your monthly in-depth tarot video forecast. This forecast is for the month of March, and it's going to be broken down into two sections. We're going to do March the 1st through the 14th for the first half of this video, and then the next half will be March the 15th through the 31st. So those of you who are cross-watchers who are here to find out more about your Capricorn person that you care about, you are certainly welcome to be here, with the caveat that you know that this channel does not do reversible energies. So energies are not reversible here. What you're seeing is for and about Capricorn. If you want to see a video that is for and about you and the energies that are flowing in your manifestation during this time frame, then what you want to do is you want to look at the video that covers your sun sign, your moon sign, or your rising sign, or any combination thereof that works for you. Okay, Capricorns, we have your cards down, my dears. Let's take a peek at your environment. Now, environment is any place where you have energy or effort invested. So usually it's home, but you do want to kind of keep an open mind about what I might be looking at here. All right, so it looks like when it comes to your environment, you've basically been backed into a situation where you feel like you had to make a decision. And I think that the person that sort of backed you into that place where you felt like you had to make a decision was somebody who can be very moody. Normally they're logical and rational, but lately they've been kind of moody and kind of grumpy, kind of hard to please. And so this is somebody who really can out-logic just about anybody. And so I think they may have talked you into this decision, even though I don't think you necessarily wanted to make it. It doesn't feel good to you, but you ended up feeling like you were backed into it. And I think that this is, there are some things going on in your environment that you're not so sure that you really know the full truth about just yet. Okay, and I think that those have to do with that decision that you were sort of backed into. Now, the next thing that I'm looking at does talk to me, Capricorn, about your subconscious leanings during this time frame. It looks to me like you're thinking about somebody that you have a lot of chemistry with. You feel like, you guys could really do well together. And in your subconscious mind, you are wondering if you really open up to this person and share with this person, would you guys be successful together? Now, this can be about a romantic, sexual type of thing, but this could also be playing out more in the way of something business-wise, that where you would be wondering, you have this project that you're really excited about, and you're wondering if you really dumped a lot of money into this project, a lot of money, a lot of time, effort, energy into this project, if it would be successful. So either way, just wondering if it would be successful if you invested in it, and whatever it is, this idea that makes you feel excited. Next thing that we're looking at, Capricorns, does talk to me about learning style and also communication style. So when we look at learning style, I do think that you're learning a lot through meditation or automatic writing, or however it is that you connect with spirit. I think you're learning a lot through sacred spirit. I think you're also learning a lot through communicating with other people and listening to what they have to say. And I think there's a lot of listening going on, much more listening than talking in this particular instance. And then there is something that you're learning right now just by doing, just jumping in and taking action. You're actually learning some things. Now, looking at communication style, I do think that you're doing a lot of communication right now, back and forth with people in your sphere of influence. I think that a lot of the people that you're talking to are pretty solid, reliable, grounded people. I also see that you are talking to people who are basically not in your inner circle, but more in the exterior circle, some of the people in your support network who are around you. And by that, I'm talking about the bigger version of that. And I do think that there is a lot going on as far as communication during this time frame that has to do with body language and how you are handling your physical body is telling people a whole lot, or at least telling one person a whole lot during this time frame. So next thing that we're looking at, Capricorns, talks to me about work. It looks like there's something that has happened that has been disappointing about, at work or about work. And I think you're letting go of that disappointment. I think that there's something that really kind of needs to change about work, that you need to change actually about work. But I think you're afraid to make that change because you're afraid of what happens once you make that, not only in your area of work, but in other areas of your life as well, particularly social, I think. And not making this change, even though you know it would bring improvements in some areas, is really sort of throwing you off track right now. It's making it hard for you to actually reach your goals at the moment. It's really turning into a blockage for you. The next thing that I'm looking at for you, Capricorn, has to do with that part of your personality, which is being grown or expanded as we go through this particular time frame. So I think what's going on is you are getting really focused on whatever it is that you want to do to improve your own life or your own living situation. And I think that you're working on this in a very independent and self-sufficient way during this time frame. And I think it is taking a lot of energy and effort as you do this. And I think you're also, I really get the sense that you're enjoying making whatever this improvement is that you're working on pretty much for the most part in a very self-sufficient way. So the next thing that we're looking at, Capricorns, does talk to me about those things that you stand for or those things that you defend. This is going to be something where somebody has come up to you and asked you to explain a situation, or they've asked you to defend a situation. And so the situation that you're talking about with that person is that there has been a fight or a debate with somebody about the whole idea of not being given an even give and take in a particular situation. And that has led to a fight. And I think that the person that you have ended up fighting with is somebody who is very logical, probably somebody who's a little bit younger than you, but somebody who really is able to think things through. They really enjoy a good debate. They enjoy being able to spar verbally. They like being able to have good conversations. And so I think that this has been a pretty lively debate or argument that has come up between you and this other person. Now, once you've explained the situation to this person who asked you to explain it or confronted you about it, what's going on is they see you as somebody who is just really trying to look out for your own resources, basically. They're seeing you as somebody who, you have a whole lot of options of things that you could do, and that you are just trying to keep your balance rather than letting somebody else try to throw you off of your own balance. You're just basically trying to keep your balance by, I think that you feel that if you were not fighting or debating with this person, then you would be putting this person in a position where they would basically throw you off balance or make you lose your mojo. And so they're seeing you as somebody who is just fighting to keep your own balance. They have a lot of different opportunities to add to your balance, add to your mojo. And this other person is really trying to restrict those, and they're not, they see you fighting to keep those opportunities available to yourself. Okay? So next thing that we're going to look at talks to me about that point in the time when things start to change for you. You're changing perspective, which is changing how you interact with the world, which changes how the world interacts with you. So this is where the trajectory sort of changes here. So what do we have that has you changing perspective? It looks like there is this Capricorn or someone else? Okay. So it looks like you've got a situation that you're witnessing in your life. I don't think this is actually happening to you, but I think you're watching it happen to somebody else. And this may be a father, or this may be somebody who you look up to that would be more of a male figure. And it looks to me like there's a situation where somebody is telling this person, you know what, I'm not really in love with you anymore. I don't really feel attracted to you anymore. I don't enjoy spending time with you anymore. And it looks like this really shakes up the world for this father figure or this person in leadership that's a male person. And so you're witnessing this, and this is actually changing your perspective on things in life in general. Just actually seeing this go down with this person that I think you actually care about this person. So whether they're actually family or whether they're a tribe member or somebody you know from work, I think you care about this person that is really going through this situation here. So at the same time that you're watching this and that your perspective is changing, it looks to me like you are really taking a position where you're focusing on tangible things. You're focusing on money. You're focusing on setting up things financially, making sure that things are stable in a financial way in your life. And this is a decision that you're making. And it looks to me like you feel like this somehow sort of insulates you from the situation that I'm going to say your friend is going through, your friend or a father figure type person. Also going on at the same time, it looks to me like you're really feeling like you don't have enough resources. You're really feeling like you're at a disadvantage because of resources. And I think that this is something that is limiting you in your own thinking. And it's limiting you in that you're not taking action on things that you probably would otherwise, except that you feel like this is something that actually is limiting you. And I think that what's going on here is you are receiving a gift at this time. I think the gift is not so much a tangible financial gift, which is usually what I see on a card like this, as much as it's the idea of realizing that you have a little bit of a poverty mindset going on here, Capricorn, and you are working your way up from that poverty mindset into a mindset of abundance and a mindset of wealth. So no shortages. All right, now what we want to look at is where we see you at the end of this time frame. So around the 13th, 14th of March, where do we see you? So it looks to me like you're finding yourself in a situation where you feel like you have plenty, you have everything that you need, but you're not sure how to maintain that. There's a little confusion there of how to maintain that. How do I keep that plenty? How do I make sure that this plenty is making me more plenty? That type of thing. And so it looks to me like you're a little bit vulnerable in that you don't really have a plan about what to do with this plenty to make sure that, you know, you have something to show for it in the future. So I would say, you know, we always get these readings ahead of time so that we can head off certain energies at the pass if we don't like them. I would say it's time to start figuring out, you know, if you end up finding yourself in a situation where you've got plenty, it's time to start figuring out what would you do with that plenty, you know, so that it's not just completely disappeared in 2 days or 2 weeks or 2 months. Okay? That's what I would suggest from that reading. All right? So that's the first half of the month, Capricorn. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, and then I'll come back and we'll look at the next half of the month for you. See you in a sec. Okay, Capricorns. Next, we are looking at the time frame from March 15th through March 31st. Going to see what shows up for you for that part of the month. While I'm putting down the cards, let me say thank you to those of you who are putting thumbs ups on this video and sharing it with others who may find it beneficial. I appreciate that. Also, thank you to those of you who are getting private Reiki sessions and private readings with me. It is because of all of you guys' support at every single level that I'm able to do what I love to do for my living. And of course, thank you to those of you who are subscribers. All right, Capricorn, starting off with your environment once again. Think that wow, you really have a mixed bag going on in your environment. It looks to me like there's, in the beginning of this time frame, you're really happy in your environment and you're enjoying the environment. I think you're actually switching environments midway between March 15th and March 31st. And I think that when you get back, I want to say when you get back to your other environment, when you get to your second environment for this time frame, I think that there's something going on here that is making you feel really sad and vulnerable. So I really like your first environment much better. It looks like you're happy and having a good time, maybe even having fun. Maybe you're on some kind of little vacation the first part of this time frame. I'm not sure. And then you're just like, oh, I don't want to go home. That could be what's happening here. I don't know. I don't know what's going to be going on with the whole pandemic and movement restrictions at that point. But anyway, that's what's coming up. Let's look at your subconscious leanings. La da 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 da. Okay, so it looks like in your subconscious, what you are focusing on is this whole idea of being abundant, of having plenty, and it looks like things are really going in your favor for that. But there's like a fly in the ointment showing up here, and that fly in the ointment has to do with the idea that there's someone that I think that you are waiting on payment from, and that you are just continuing to wait. And I think with your subconscious leanings, you're looking at everything is going so well. If I could just get this one person or this one company to pay for the services I've done for them, we'll be in great shape. Or it could be that everything is going so well. If I could just get one more client at this level, then everything would be tip-top perfect. So your subconscious is really working on how to make the finances more stable, more secure during this time when things are going well for you. Next thing that we're looking at talks to me about learning style and also communication style. I do think that during this time frame there is something going on where you're learning by imitation. You're paying attention to what others are doing and you're following their lead. I think there's also something going on here where you're learning things by replacing things that used to be. So you could be coming into a situation where everything was kind of set up. You were sort of set in that situation and expected to run with it the way it was. And you're starting to see where things, you're running out of things, running out of supplies, or where things just aren't being really taken care of just right. And you're starting to hear that flashback from that. You're starting to hear some feedback from that. And this is where you're learning, oh, that means I have to do this. You know, you're basically learning from inference on these things, or inference, however you want to say that word. However you want to say that word. And I think that there's also this whole idea of learning about something from somebody else. And I think that this person that has the information or has the knowledge that you need, it looks to me like a kindness, an act of respect, a gift for them goes a long way in making them feel like sharing that information with you. So for most of you, I don't think I'm saying or suggesting actually technically a bribe for information, but an act of kindness. An act of kindness would go a long way. All right, so next we're looking at your communication style for this time frame, Capricorn. I do think that there is a lot being talked about when it comes to emotions and the idea of peacefulness, of Zen. I think that you are talking a lot about calm, about the lack of drama, the lack of chaos. I think that also there are some people in your life that are very strongly bound to you, whether they're family or whether they're friends. And I think that, excuse me, you're really finding out who you can call on in the morning and in the night. Who's going to be there for you 24/7, no matter what. If you have something come up, who's going to be there when you call? I think you're finding out a little bit about that as a part of your communication style right now. And also as part of your communication style, I think there is some sharing going on. And I don't mean just sharing of ideas or sharing of information. I think part of your communication with other people is sharing of actual goods, whether it's food or whether it's coats, whether it's, I don't know, it just feels to me like you're sharing things with somebody, and that's part of your communication with them, that you believe in them, basically. All right. Looking next at work, Capricorn. So it looks to me like things at work are going along in a very fair, just, balanced way. I think that whoever your supervisor is or the leadership, wherever you're working, is really good at making sure that everybody plays under the same rules here. I don't think that you're so thrilled about going to work in general or about working in general right now. There's something about it that is not as happiness making as usual. But I also see that being in your workplace, wherever that workplace may be, is actually adding to your intuition or strengthening your intuition. So I'm not sure what's going on at work that's strengthening your intuition. I can tell you from personal experience, when I had this card come up for myself in a work situation several times, there were things going on at work that were not being talked about, that, my intuition was pretty well picking up on that the general ideas or the general gist of what wasn't being talked about. And so I'm thinking that with this showing up in your work part of this spread, that's probably what's happening too. You're picking up on things that people aren't really ready to spill the beans on just yet. All right, so the next thing that we're looking at is where your personality is being grown or expanded. So it does look like there's a fight or a debate that goes on, and I think that whenever this happens, this actually keeps you from working for a little bit, and it keeps you from working. I think this is a decision from staying out of work. For some of you, this fight or debate isn't so much like what you would normally think of as a fight or debate. For some of you, you're witnessing or a part of a vehicle incident where somebody bumps into somebody else. So there could be some kind of car. I don't want to say crash. I mean, that sounds really dramatic, but there could be some kind of accident. And I think that for most of you, this does involve a vehicle. And I think that, like I said, I think it's going to keep you out of work, but just temporarily. I think that you're going to be making the decision that, this isn't floating for very long. I don't think you're going to tolerate that. And I feel like for a lot of you, you're out of work because, you're making statements to the police, or, you're just, for a lot of you, you're just witnessing whatever this is that's happening. I don't think all of you are. But for a lot of you, that's what's going on, is you're witnessing it and, making some kind of official statement. All right, so the next thing that we're looking at, Capricorn, during this time frame is those things that you stand for. So this is going to be something that, somebody asks you to explain to them or somebody confronts you about. And so what we have here is an idea of somebody or something showing back up from the past, making an appearance back in your life, and really coming back and wanting to kind of pick up where they left off whenever they disappeared. And you had made the decision, that's not for me. I don't want to pick off where we left off. Where we left off is just fine to leave it right there, is more your stance. So after you've explained this to somebody, They see you as walking away, and I don't think that they realize that you really were in that position where you would walk away from this situation if it came back up again. But they see you as actually walking away and realizing that what that was, while it may have seemed like the ideal at that time, no longer seems like the ideal to you. And they also see that, you've got some strength back. You've got your self-esteem back. You know who you are. And so this is really a good, that you've healed up from whatever this was that happened with this person from the past. All right, let's look next at your flex point, Capricorns. This is going to be a point where something happens that changes your perspective here, which changes how you interact with the world, which changes how the world interacts with you. So it sort of changes your trajectory. So what we have going on here, it looks like there is somebody in your life, probably a female, who has plenty of resources and seems to be very comfortable. And I think that this female that you're interacting with is not very happy because she really doesn't have any long-term plans. So she has plenty right now, but she doesn't have long-term plans. And so I think that she's feeling unhappy with herself about that and restless and I feel like she's wanting to get some long-term plans going so that she knows that she has resources. I think we saw something very similar to this come up for you guys yourselves last time. I don't think this is you this time. I think this is you witnessing it for somebody else in your life. At the same time that is happening, what is this? I think that there's something going on around you, something going on in your energy where there is a major shakeup in the way things are thought about, in the way the perspective is. And I think this is pretty much the collective consciousness, at least the collective consciousness around you. And I think that this shakeup, interestingly enough, this can be dramatic and it can be a little bit chaotic when it first happens. But I think, interestingly enough, you're seeing the potential of it right off the bat, right away. And you're finding ways to capitalize on this or to maximize this, to really bring out its full positive potential, to the point that you may even find yourself with a really hectic schedule and trying to keep up with everything that you need to get accomplished during this time. And I feel like other people are more frozen in time, where you're actually seeing some opportunities here and really rolling with them. So what else is going on, Capricorn? So it looks to me like there's just a lot here where you're watching other people more so than actually showing up in your reading, which is a little strange. I've seen that in one or two spots, but it seems like we've got a lot for you like that this time. I do think that you're witnessing a situation where there is somebody who has been really generous energetically with somebody around them, and that other person sort of seems to take that for granted. And so because it's been taken for granted, the person who's being generous decides, you know what, no, just can't do it anymore, not doing that. And I think that when you see this happen, this is something that sort of throws you off. It's something that puts it's something that really kind of sets a mindset into your brain about your own personal limitations, even though, I'm telling you, I feel really strongly like this is somebody else in your sphere of influence, that you're watching all this go down, but there is somehow that impacts you in a way that it keeps you limited or restricted about moving forward in some way, especially when it has to do with this person that has the resources that cut off the generosity to somebody else. Maybe you're afraid they'll cut off generosity to you, and that's why you're feeling limited or restricted. Let's look at where you are at the end of the month, Capricorn. It looks to me like you are putting an end to some kind of long-term debate or tension that's been in your life, and you are just really putting that to bed. I think that part of that is that there's some kind of truth that's coming to you, and it may even be coming to you in a dream or intuitively through reflection. And I think that this new truth is a real gift to you that allows you to put this long-term tension or debate straight up to bed so you don't have to mess with it anymore. I'm liking it. Okay, so that was your month, Capricorns. Thank you so much for being here. If I don't see you for a private session between now and the next video, then I'll see you back on the next video. Peace out, everybody.